Welcome to Link by Golf, where the stories of the game come to life. I'm Ross McGuire, and this week I'm thrilled to be joined by David Scott, a hugely experienced PGA professional and the driving force behind Dumbarnie Links, one of Scotland's most exciting modern golf courses. We discuss what Dumbarnie offers as an experience for golfer, and David shares great insights on mindset, dedication, and the many paths a golf career can take. Before we get started, please remember to follow the show and share it with your friends. I'd also like to thank Lomond Golf Tours and Croon Golf for their support of the show. Let's go over to David. On this week's podcast, I'm delighted to welcome David Scott. David, thanks for joining.
Ross, thanks so much for inviting me to have a word with you.
Yeah, no problem at all. And David, we met at Dumbarnie. I was lucky enough to play it just a few days ago, and Dumbarnie's just turned 5. So how do you feel about that landmark being made already?
Well, I was thrilled. Crikey, we've all come a long way in 5 years. When we opened, it was end of May, 29th of May we opened, and your listeners will remember that it was only a couple of months after we shut down for COVID. The whole country was shut down. So instead of opening mid-May, the Scottish government, bless them, they allowed us to open 29th of May, and then we had then Fifers coming in, just family only, out of 2 balls, and then gradually it then started to eke out, and they relaxed it, and then we got out to Scotland as well. So for the first year was all Fife and then Scottish business. So come a long way since then. In year 1, we had no clubhouse. Not that you were allowed to use a clubhouse, but the builders moved off-site in March when it was a bit touch and go whether to get it finished for May. And so first year was offices were out of porta cabins, and we had an outdoor barbecue running 7 days a week with pouring tenants. So that wasn't so bad. So a lot of people that did actually come here were loving it, because probably a lot of them at their own golf clubs had shut the clubs down, as you weren't allowed to do anything. But you were allowed to have an outside barbecue, and you were allowed to pour tenants outside. So that was okay. So we had a wee bit of food and beverage interaction as well going on there. So it was interesting times, but come a long way. Yeah, we've hosted the Women's Scottish Open in 2021, when you had the likes of Lydia Ko and Dame Laura Davis, just to name 2. So it's a dual sanctioned event. So to have that on TV, kind of August of 21, helped us greatly with our promotion of the links. So yeah, had a lot of fun during the 5 years. A wee bit of stress along the way, but mostly fun.
Yeah, and you're just named Golf Course of the Year in 2024, and you're now featured in the top 100. What do you think when you reflect on that as well?
Well, thrilled. I mean, we're all about the experience. Okay, you've got to have a good golf course or a great golf course before you even talk about an experience. So, Graham Taylor, our course manager's done a wonderful job. He's been here since the very beginning of sewing in the golf course way back in 2018. He's got a great team. He's a challenging boss, but and they know that he kind of leads with an iron fist to a degree, but he's very, very fair boss, and he's got the place shining as best as he can after 5 years. So that's great. But then after that, then it's the experience about the warm welcome that we have coming through the place, and I'd like to think that it's consistently high every day. That we employ happy people that are happy to be here, that have got smiles on their face, and there's not too many drains in there that suck the energy from rooms by being negative and picking, just seeing every cloud as being a negative one. It's an opportunity. A lot of people have silver linings in clouds around here, rather than just, it's terrible, and isn't it, just having a bad attitude. So good, employing the right people with the right attitude makes the whole experience. So that's why we're thrilled. We've won a couple of awards to do with the experience alone.
Yeah, I noticed you won the Clubhouse Award as well as the golf course. That must have been really fantastic for you.
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, Clubhouse of the Year in Scotland. We're up against some big players. I think in the final, maybe what was it, Castle Stewart, maybe Dundonald, who have a magnificent clubhouse, and I think Carnoustie as well. So, some heavyweights there. Those of your listeners who haven't been to the clubhouse, will on first time they do visit, will find it actually quite a basic clubhouse. It's not got lots of different rooms. It's got one big function room called the Old Barn, and we have country and western music playing throughout the clubhouse to relax people as they come in. Think, wow, this is actually a million miles away from what a traditional golf course is like. So you come in there, you turn left for retail therapy into the golf shop, you turn right to have a pint of tennis or tequila, and you've got country and western piped throughout the whole place. So if you don't like country and western, well, unlucky, but that's the most of our business certainly is the US market, and it's modern country and western, and so a lot of the UK is getting turned on to that kind of music as well. So we're here to entertain our guests coming through. So right from the very beginning, we're going to look after you well, and then once we've looked after your clubs and taken them around the other side of the clubhouse to the first tee direction, and you've been in and reported in, and you walk out, the vistas heading straight south I think are exceptional. There's no question about that. And then the range 80 yards from our first tee, putting green, chipping green's nice, and you go in the first tee, and then you're welcomed with a Dumbarnie 10-year-old whiskey made by Loch Lomond for us. So every player gets the option of a shot of whiskey, and even the juniors that come here, they don't get a shot of whiskey, but they get a shot of apple juice. So if they're with their dad or their big brother who is over 18, they can have a cheers, have it on camera, take a photograph, and they can send it to their mum and dad or wherever it might be. A lot of social media going on in that first tee. So it really is entertainment, trying to make the people feel really good about being here and really special rather than a number and another number, another number. You want to make them feel really like a VIP for the day.
Yeah, and I love that. It's such a simple thing to think about, but the fact that you can sit in this beautiful clubhouse looking out in a brilliant view, wander, as you say, only 80 yards down to the practice area, just go across to the first tee, you're only another 30 yards away. It's awesome. It's so relaxing. You don't feel like you're rushing all over the place, jumping in buggies or anything like that. It's a really, really good experience to start your day off.
Yeah.
So in terms of the golf course, David, we haven't really even dug into that, but what do you think it is that sets Dumbarnie apart in terms of the course and the layout?
It's a little bit different we get compared to a lot of links, especially Kingsbarns, I suppose. It's up the road. It's the most talked about golf course and superb. I was there for 8 years, so I know it inside out. It's a different feel to it. We've got individual holes all the way around the golf course. We've got a massive footprint of 345 acres. So, for instance, the old course is on 90 acres, and we've got 345. Okay, so you've got your dual fairways all around the old course in Andrews.
That's incredible.
Kingsbarns probably around, I may be wrong and they'll shoot me, but maybe about the 200 mark or so, 220. So they have a few fairways that kind of intersect or come close to each other. The sixth and the 17th, or the 7th and the 16th, etc. And then you've got 9 up the right when you're playing 7. So yeah, there's quite a lot, which is nothing wrong with that at all. I may add, that's traditional links golf where you've got a slim portion of ground, running alongside the water. So I get that. So London Links is the same, and Leven's the same. These great links courses in Fife. We were just blessed that we managed to get a deal for 345 acres, and so Clive Clark, the designer, could then plot each hole on a different line of the compass, angle of the compass, so you don't have 2 consecutive holes running the same direction. So if you've got a wind, which usually there is here, then it's not coming over your right shoulder for 2, 3, 4 holes in a row. It's only one hole, and then next hole it might be over your left shoulder, and next one's in your face, and next one's downwind. So it's really an interesting layout and routing as a result. What makes a difference of it? Well, like a lot of modern golf courses, we've got lots of tees to play from. So we've got 4 sets of tees measured 5,300, 5,900, 6,400, and 6,900. Now I think you played off the 6,900 yards on a tough day, and so congrats on your 76. That was very good for first time round for sure. We do have a set 7,600, so that's not for the faint-hearted. You've got to hit it miles from them. So our starter will ask you, okay, Ross, what's your handicap? You're saying scratch. Okay, well, we would recommend 6,900. If you're a 10 handicapper, okay, that's kind of between the blues and the whites. So, if the wind's really up and you don't hit it that far, maybe play whites at 5,900 yards, because 6,400 could be maybe a bit of a challenge. So we try and give you the set of tees that you're going to best enjoy and not over challenge yourself, nor make it too easy. We don't want to, unless you really want the ego stroked and you want to get low, you don't want to go too far forward. You want to hit the driver and be in the right kind of portion and area of the fairway where the hole's been designed to be, sort of thing. So that gets you off. Then you're off and running on the right set of tees. What makes us different, I think, probably comes down to the kind of thought-provoking holes that we've got. So, there are 5 holes in particular that you've got to think about what you're doing on the tee. So you've got 3 drivable par 4s if you're playing from the right set of tees, and the prevailing winds, kind of roughly as it should be west or southwest. So if you're playing the right set of tees and you hit a good drive, you're going to get very close to the green, but you've got to take on a tough angle. You've got to aim right at the green, and you're always carrying bunkers. There's lots of, so for instance, the first drivable is our 3rd hole. So you might have 60 yards of fairway on the right-hand side. But if you're going for the green, you've got a couple of, carry a couple of bunkers that can do a lot of damage. If you don't quite middle your, the tee shot, and you don't quite get the distance, then you can easily run up, a 5 or a 6 if you're in the sand. But play out the right, pitch on the green, 2 putts, easy 4. But so it's asking you, do you feel lucky, to use a Clint Eastwood expression? Then 5th hole, it's a dog leg from right to left. You've got 2 fairways there. You've got a thin sliver of fairway down the left, and then half a Fife on the right, and bunkers in between. So you're standing on the tee. Okay, do I risk going down the left, give me a much shorter second shot in, or do I go down the right, give me a longer shot in, but it's a lot easier tee shot? So it's a classic risk and reward, old school. And then 11th hole is the same, a drivable par 4, again carrying over bunkers, and usually if it's prevailing, it's off the left. So it's a hard hole, and then you've got hard left to right wind, and you're trying to hit it 240, 250 or so, or maybe from the forward tees more of a 200-yard carry to go over the bunker. So it's all very well getting a distance, but actually getting a distance along with direction, if you've got a strong left-right wind, can be a big challenge. But there's lots of birdies there, but there are plenty of bogeys as well, which are frustrating. Again, you've got the choice to go on the right-hand side and then pitch on, make 2 putts.
Yeah, and even the pitch from the right-hand side is not easy. I can attest to that. It was pin high.
Right.
And, the elevation was probably 8 or 9 feet, and then the pin's sitting not just over the ridge, but there's a kind of ridge that runs through the green, or a slope, and it's sitting just over that. And that was an interesting pitch, trying to get that one close, which I didn't, of course.
No. Well, you see, the greens are firm here, as you know. They are firm, and to get any spin at all, you've got to be coming really from distance, or you've got to have a really great nippy, lob wedge in your bag that you can get some spin. But there's any no backspin, balls coming back at you. That's impossible unless you're playing into a gale force wind. I think they are very, very firm, and they're stimping 10.5 or 11, so they're pretty fast now. Yes, that's 11th, and then 15th is a par 5. So that's the opposite of 5th. Yeah, it's a left to right, big par 5, thin slither of fairway down the right hand side for your big hitters that want to go down there and then try to get the green in 2, or play down the left. Again, you've got maybe 50 yards wide fairway down the left. So your higher handicappers, the caddies, are saying all day, left, sir, left, got to go left. The bigger hitters, they want to take that risk. So it's a classic risk and reward. You want to make birdie, so you risk it going down the right, and you can get the green with probably a rescue or something, depending where the wind is, as I say. And then 17, controversial hole. It's got a fairway on the left. It's got a wall running right down the middle of the hole, and then on the right-hand side of the wall, you've then got, I think, 6 bunkers all dotted about, and then the green up higher on the hill. So from the blue tees, which is 6,400, I think it's about 240 yards front edge, but you are landing on an upslope. but it plays downwind often.
Yeah.
So you can give it a go, and you can get hard bounces on the fairways, being sand based. You can get it up on the green, but it's a kind of knuckle front, so it's easy for the ball to move to the right or move to the left rather than feeding straight onto the green. So
Yes, visually, it's very intimidating off the tee as well when you're looking at the hole, because even though there's more fairway up the left-hand side, effectively to your eye, then you look at the depth of the fairway that you've got to try and get the ball within, and there's still not a huge landing area as well. It's really, really smart, that hole.
no, it's the most amazing hole, and unbelievably, I'll blow about our course manager here for just a few seconds. He played on Sunday. He hits it quite a long way. He's about an 8 handicapper. His name's Graham Taylor. He stood in that tee, hadn't been playing well all day really, smoked his tee shot, and it's landed 20, 30 yards short of the green and ran up onto the green. So he went to look for his partner's ball, I think, on the left, while his other buddy went up on the green. And he's doing star jumps around the hole. He'd hold it.
What?
He'd a hole in one. First ever hole in one there. We've had holes in one at the third and I think 11th, but never on the 17th. We never thought that. I mean,
Yeah, no wonder.
So he enjoyed a few drinkies in the clubhouse that afternoon, but well deserved, but magnificent. So yeah, it was a gobsmacking moment for sure.
Yeah, oh, that's incredible. Imagine a hole in one at a par 4. Brilliant.
Yeah, but I think so that's your 5 holes that are thought-provoking, kind of risk and reward, where not many golf courses have so many options. It's you stand up in the tee and smash driver, and that's it. But I think the width of fairways are quite generous here. So if you do have a 30-mile-an-hour wind, you can get around the golf course. You played in a pretty strong wind as well. You're not losing any balls, and if you're relatively straight, and even if you are a good bit offline, you can generally find the ball, so you're not losing the balls and getting beaten up. So we regularly hear, "Oh, we had a great day out here," and yeah, I had one of my best scores I've had in some time. It doesn't beat you up, so you come in wanting to go out again, or wanting to talk, and you've had fun, and you shake hands with your 3 buddies on the last green, and you're all smiling, rather than some golf courses you go to, it can be just soul destroying, and you're happy to get off the golf course because you've been found wanting and you've been beaten up. But round here, I think it massages the ego a little bit in some places, and you feel good about your game. And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was funny, the hole that caught me out the most, that was the one at the end, the 18th. I had a great drive down there, stand with a wedge in my hand, 130 to the pin,
Right.
and I've hit this wedge, and I'm thinking it's downwind, and I'm holding this pose, just thinking I've absolutely stuffed it. It's right down the flag, and it landed 30 yards short of the pin.
Oh, killer.
Because the wind, I think the wind kind of swirls round near the green. And
That's right.
The wind was actually into my face, and I got nowhere near the target. It was hilarious.
Ah, damn, yeah. Did you get up and down?
I did. Yeah.
Sweet. What a player you are, Ross. Brilliant.
Oh, that's some quote. My friends that know me and have played with me would not be saying that, but there you go. I'll keep that one. Yeah, so David, we jumped into the golf course and talked a lot about that. I'd love to talk about your own journey. So you started at St Andrews, and how did you get into the game?
Yeah, born and bred St Andrews. My dad was a very good player. He won the St Andrews Club Championship way back when I would have been probably 6 years old. I remember him bringing back a trophy. He was proud as punch. I just remember it. But I just started the game, and if you're in St Andrews, you either love or hate it. I loved the game, and played with my buddies. And so every summer, or school holidays, we'd be down with the clubs in their back. No danger, no nothing. So you'd wave goodbye to your mum at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you come back at 6 at night. That was quite brilliant, And you'd have a piece in your bag, a cheese sandwich in your bag, and a can of Coca-Cola, and that was you for the day, and come back for your pie, beans and chips at 6 o'clock at night. What's not to like about that as well? So brilliant. So loved the game. My house was in the middle of St Andrews, so probably 5 hours away from the 18th of the old course. In fact, not that I played the old course as a kid, because you weren't really allowed on as a kid there. But you just walk with with your spikes on from the house, and just go up and play the Eden course or the Ball Gold, the little 9-hole course, or maybe Jubilee, and just play, I don't know, at least 36 holes a day.
Jubilee's mega tough as well. I mean, I find that really hard as a golf course.
So there was a big change when I was a kid. So I was playing, that would be kind of early 70s, late 70s kind of area there. The golf course wasn't the same as it is now. It's been revamped, right, and it's a lot harder, in fact, now. So yeah, if you get the wind into your face in the back nine, it's downwind in the front nine. So you could be out in 33 and thinking, okay, this is all right. Easily back in 43, it just, can crunch you. Some very strong holes toward the end, yeah. But a good golf course. So I think as a local, I think most locals, if the wind was up, would say, I'll avoid the Jubilee if you don't mind. I'll go a new course or especially old course if it's windy.
I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Lomond Golf Tours for their support. Let's hear from them now.
At Lomond Golf Tours Scotland, we understand that choosing the perfect golf trip can bring its challenges. With more than 500 golf courses in Scotland and another 2,000 around the UK and Ireland, many of our guests don't know where to start. But for Lomond Golf Tours, it's not just about the golf, it's about providing an experience that will exceed expectations, that will turn dreams into realities, and that will create memories that last a lifetime. Lomond Golf Tours have helped thousands of guests build bespoke golf trips to create a magical experience. Travel in style, whether executive chauffeur travel, whether it's golf on a major championship venue or one of our hidden gems, 5-star accommodation or a boutique bed and breakfast, or is it whiskey tasting on a private boat? Lomond Golf Tours are here to help build the tour of a lifetime. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or ticking it off your bucket list, embark on a trip that you'll remember forever. To learn more about our offerings for 2025 and beyond, visit www.lomondgolftours.com.
Now let's get back to the pod. You also played in the PGA Cup, which you told me when we met. I'd love you to talk about that experience. I thought that was fantastic to hear about.
Maybe I'll quickly rewind just before then. So yeah, I was in St Andrews till 19. I turned pro, went to Dougherty Golf Club as assistant pro. Then I went to a place called Letham Grange, which was up in Arbroath. Sadly, it's no longer there. So I was there for a year or so, played the Club Pro Championships down at Princess Course, finished runner-up to Brian Barnes, which was a great honour. It'd have been a better honour if it'd have been better if I'd beaten them. But anyway, there you go. Runner-up's not bad. And then the following year was at Carnoustie when the PGA Cup team was being chosen. So depending on how you got on, you got points from the previous year. But more importantly, it was actually the 1990 results at Carnoustie that got you in the team. So fortunately, I finished 6th there and got on the team. So PGA Cup was at Kiowa Island, not on the Ocean course, because that was the following year the Ryder Cup was on there.
Ah, right, okay.
It was still under construction. So I was playing a Jack Nicklaus course called Turtle Point. So that was an amazing experience. I was a youngster in the team. I would be 27, so I was needing a bit of guidance as well. I felt a bit, heard the expression imposter syndrome. I felt like, I'm not good enough because, you're up against some amazing American talent. In our team was Brian Waits, and you had Brian Barnes in our team. To name just two of the names, so you had some heavyweights there. So I felt a bit out of my depth, but on my first afternoon game, I didn't play in the morning in the foursomes. It's the same format as Ryder Cup, so it's foursomes in the morning, 4-ball in the afternoon. I played with Brian Barnes in the afternoon, and he stood in the first tee. It was 85 degrees, and it must have been 90% humidity. He was dying because he'd played in the morning. So he said to me in the first tee, words of inspiration. He then said, David, I don't know why I'm playing with you this afternoon. I'm absolutely knackered. So that really wasn't what I was hoping to hear from him, because I'm already nervous as it is. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, I'm on my own now this afternoon. You're not going to be interested. And nor was he. And so anyway, We didn't win. We did not win. We never got anywhere near to winning. We got hammered out in the golf course. But hey, it's just life experiences. It was great fun. The next day I played with a chap, Tim Rastow, and we got a half game, which was great because he was grinding. And I enjoyed being, in his company, and I was grinding as well. So the two of us are cajoling ourselves along as you need to do in any club match, let alone a PGA Cup match. So it was terrific. But overall, though, we were found wanting the whole team, and so it went down badly. But it was a huge experience. So a week I'll never forget.
Yeah, and on the topic of the PGA, David, you're the current captain of the PGA. I'd love you to talk about that as well.
Yeah, so the PGA of Great Britain and Ireland have over 8,000 members now. So it's maybe 1,500 are abroad now. So they'll train in GB&I and they'll go to Asia or Dubai or some to America. Difficult with the green card situation there, but some get out there. But certainly Dubai is a big deal. Europe, if you can get in there now with Brexit, it's a wee bit more awkward. But certainly Asia, Dubai. So yeah, I helped the PGA Scottish Committee for maybe 8 or 10 years, many years back, kind of in the 90s, and I was Scottish captain in 1999-2000, which was awesome. And then I think just my services to golf, through the PGA and playing PGA Cup as well, the board at the Belfry put my name forward and had a conversation and thought, I was the right guy. The way it works is you've got 7 regions, so it goes round the regions. So next time there'll be somebody in Scotland, it won't be for probably 7 years, I would think. So It goes round the regions. So I've been recommended by Scottish region and the board, and so it went for conversation and it was unanimous. So then I had a conversation with Alan White, who's the chairman, and also Rob Maxfield, who's the CEO of PGA. So they offered me the lofty role of captain-elect for a year, which was last year. And then I moved in April at the AGM to the captain. So to represent 8,000 members is wonderful. It's so humbling. It's great. I love them. I love representing them. It entails me going to around 15 prize givings. So, for instance, next week I'm going down to Ingreborn Links, just outside of London, and that's for the PGA Club Professionals Championship. So I'll be there on the penultimate day, 3rd round, see the PGA team, speak with them, the staff, see some of the golf course, and then the final day I'll be in the first tee from first light, shaking hands, wishing them well, have a good game, Ross, have a good game, James, have a bit of lunch, and then go out in the golf course and follow the last few matches, and hopefully I'll see the winning putt. Speak to sponsors if we have sponsors there on the day, and then a prize giving. Then I'll just go through the necessary thank yous to everyone and comment about the golf course probably, because it will be in excellent order, because the PGA are held in high esteem, I think, with many clubs across the country. And so if we're hosting a championship, the course manager almost certainly will have done his best to make it in premium order, and it genuinely is. It's wonderful. So I'll be thanking him very much, and then flying up the road from London, I'll get back to my house probably about midnight on Friday. So 2 busy days, and that happens maybe a dozen times or so, and then a couple of bigger events. So go to the Open Championship, which is great for 3 days there, and then the biggest one of the whole year actually is the Ryder Cup. And a few days before the Ryder Cup, you've got the Junior Ryder Cup. So those of your listeners who follow golf well, the Junior Ryder Cup in Rome was won by Stevie Gallagher's team. So Stevie's from the Edinburgh area. Yeah. He's been invited to be captain again for the European team. So that's terrific. So he's going to be there a few days before. In my official capacity as captain, I'm going to be then their official. So if there's any speechifying, any dinners, then I'll say a few words. So it'll be great to see these young kids trying their heart out, because he wasn't given a chance out in Rome. in Italy rather, and he he pulled it off, which was brilliant. Hence why he's captain again. So I'll be there to support him as much as possible. And then that I think finishes maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and then Ryder Cup obviously is on the Friday.
Oh, that
So
would be awesome.
be out there till
Fantastic.
Monday. So staying in Manhattan and then traveling to Bethpage Black each day. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it, Ross.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, absolutely. But the other, I guess, what's the word I would use? I guess the honour that you've got is being the honorary professional to RNA. So what does that role involve, and what does it mean to you, David?
Well, yeah, being a St Andrews lad, getting this Royal and Ancient, yeah, the honorary professional of the Royal and Ancient. There've only been 5 honorary professionals before me, and the shortest term that any of them's had has been 18 years. That was my good friend Jim Farmer, who many of your listeners will know. Jim passed away in November last year, tragically, very sudden. And so then the executive board were then looking for a replacement, and they came up with me. I think, so 5 out of the 6, including myself, 5 out of the 6 were born and brought up in St Andrews. So that's a big factor. And
yeah,
then the
of course.
6th one being John Panton. So yeah, it goes, I think it's Andrew Kirkcaldy, Laurie Ochterlony, Willie Ochterlony, and then John Panton, who was, I think, born in Pitlochry but worked in Glenbervie for many, many years there. And that's where the John Panton drink comes from. And then you had Jim Farmer. So a lot of things were in my favour, I suppose. St Andrews, sure, PGA professional for over 40 years, tick that box there. And then, I suppose PGA Cup player helps. But then certainly the captain of Great Britain and Ireland, it's a huge honour. I would have gone in my favour. So, yeah, I was just given the news. I mean, many of my friends, because I'm St Andrews, many of my friends from St Andrews are RNA members as well. We all went to regular comprehensive, not private school, and so I get invited in with them, and we all have a good time, and they always buy me lunch because they're members. So anyway, when I let them know that I'd been offered this position, and it comes with members' privileges, even although I'm not a member, but I'm allowed to go in there wearing the member's tie, and I can go and take them in for lunch. So I phoned up my best buddy, Athol Reid, and after a few expletives of excitement from his end, he was saying, and the best thing about this, David? And I said, go on then. He said, you can buy me lunch now.
Brilliant.
So being a total Fifer, yeah, we're tight as a drum, but we enjoy being tight as drums. But it'll be a great pleasure for sure, taking him in for lunch. But yeah, massive honour, and I like a bit of, everybody likes, I think, but a bit of history of the game and the RNA from early on, probably around the 1800s or so, 1850s or so. They wanted to start a collection of memorabilia, and they understood that the world, or certainly the Scottish golf world, was looking at them as being the custodians, as being the people that are running and in charge of golf. And so, the history they've got behind the golf club dating back, I think 1754 was the kind of the first steps toward the Royal and Ancient Golf Club. Is brilliant. So part of my role as honorary professional, it's a ceremonial role. Part of that role will be occasionally having VIPs in, welcoming them, and maybe giving them a tour of the clubhouse. And that includes then, most importantly, the trophy room, and then the Open Championship, the Claret Jug, and then the winner's belt that young Tommy won 3 times, up until 1870. So having all that stuff is super cool. I do enjoy that, and hugely proud to actually talk about it. That's for sure. So it's the ultimate as far as I'm concerned. And I think many professionals have had some lovely notes, but they're saying, I can't believe how lucky you are. That's the best job in professional golf. And who could argue, really?
Yeah,
and that's easy for me to say, but mean, I'd rather be only professional than well, I'm actually not. It's unfair. Than anywhere in the world. You can talk about the great golf courses right around the world, but the only professional is super cool. So every morning I kind of wake up still smiling from the night before when I went to bed smiling. So it's been a huge buzz. And then on top of that, many of your listeners will probably know, you've heard about the drive and the captain's drive, and that quite often happens at a lot of golf clubs. The captain drives into office, fine, but there's a difference at the Old Course and the Royal and Ancient. When the captain drives in, there are 40 or 50 caddies down the first hole and 18th fairways on the Old Course. So he drives in, I peg up his ball, he drives toward the caddies, and whoever then gets the ball brings it back to the captain, and he swaps it and exchange it for a gold sovereign. So gold sovereign these days, the way gold is, I don't know how much it is. It'll be £700 or £800. So it's worth getting a black eye for, I think, probably to get that ball. But out
there with the catchers, Matt. Superb.
Well, that's right. That's right. I think, and so it's quite precarious when you think about it, right? So the incoming captain, Dennis Watson, he's a very fine player. I think he's like a 4 handicapper, and the caddies will all know it. It's like going to the bookies and knowing what horse you've got and where's the odds of hitting it. Is he going to cut it? Is he going to pull hook it? And so they're all kind of scattered around. But if it's a regular puller of the ball, well, they'll all be down the 18th fairway down the left, hoping it's going to come that way, and they're slicing the ball then up the right near the out of bounds. So you can imagine it'd be quite a spectacle. There'll be 500 people minimum, I would think, round that first tee, because a lot of locals come out to it, because it's a really cool day, morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's the end of the autumn meeting. They have 2 weeks of competition over the old and new course. I think maybe some on the Eden as well, but mainly new and old course. And so then after the end of the autumn meeting, he plays in, so he drives in for his year. So that's him there in situ. So he'll be back in the spring for the spring meeting, and then he'll be back in autumn for the main meeting, autumn meeting, which is for over 2 weeks. So it's going to be epic, to use a nice word, I guess. Epic to be following the captain. Basically, the outgoing captain leads, the incoming captain comes second, and then I'm third following up, and I'll peg his ball and give him a couple of words of encouragement, and then he hopefully smokes one 250 or so right down the middle of the fairway.
Well, that's awesome. And David, with that experience that you've had through your career and playing and everything you've done with the PGA and all these great courses, is there a piece of advice you'd give a young golf professional today getting into the industry?
Well, yeah, it depends. It just depends what angle they're looking for. If it's playing, well, good luck. It's like 0.001% they get through there. But if you've got a passion and belief, well, who's to say you can't do it? A classic example is Paul Lawrie. Paul Lawrie turned assistant professional off a 5 handicap. I don't think it was any lower than 5. 5 handicap, and yet in 1999 he wins the Open Championship. How can that be? He never played any boys golf for Aberdeen or anything. 5 handicap. That's pretty poor. But he had such dedication and such belief in himself. He went for it. So he went for that goal, religiously hitting balls. And if it was snowing, he'd be out hitting balls still. Just great. So it's all in your mindset. If you're not hungry to keep on improving, well, you can forget it. Just because you're skillful and you play off +3, +4, forget it. You're not in the races, honestly, if you're trying to get in the pro game, unless you've got a desire and hunger to basically put a lot of things aside and concentrate and be really selfish and just play in all elements and give it your best shot. And even then, you're probably still not going to make it on tour, but you're going to give it your best shot. But if you don't have that, forget it. And then as a golf professional, you've got lots of different options. You want to get through your training, and that includes then kind of biomechanics of the swing instruction. You've got your business studies, then you've got your club repairs element, golf rules, So you've got quite a few elements, and you can't sit your final exams after 3 years unless you've played to a certain proficiency as well during these 3 years in your PGA, your PGA events. Once you've qualified, well, the world's your oyster. Do you want to get into retail? A lot of big shops now, they can turn over at golf clubs, £500,000, maybe £1 million. So you can make some nice money with that if that's your gig. Coaching's a really big deal as well now. Online coaching's there as well. Or the way I've gone for the last 25 years is management. It's more running of teams, and I love that. That floats my boat, they say. But it just depends what you're looking for. But get through your exams is the most important thing, because I think the PGA is held in high esteem at a lot of golf courses. So you've got the PGA after your name, then it hopefully will get you an interview, versus perhaps some folk that might have just a sports degree from university, or or have been a good golfer and playing off scratch and played at a county team, and oh, he's a good guy, and maybe worked for the bank and everything. Okay, so academically he might be pretty good, but he doesn't have probably the rounded skill set that a PGA professional has.
Yeah, absolutely. So David, look, I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been brilliant to have you on. There's so many questions I'd still love to ask you, but I'm really conscious of your time. I appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks very much, Ross. Great to speak with you.
Cheers. That's it for this episode of Link by Golf. A huge thank you to David Scott for sharing his journey from his early days as a PGA professional to shaping one of Scotland's most exciting golf experiences at Dumbarnie Links. If you enjoyed the conversation, please follow the show, leave a review and share it with your friends. Big thanks again to Lomond Golf Tours and Croon Golf for the continued support. Until next time, thanks for listening.